Pretty good so far, right? All right, so I did say that we were going to teach you everything you needed to know about publishing and all that stuff. We have one more piece to do. That's going to be tomorrow about moving your book. But for now, how many of you would agree you have a great idea on how to plan your book? How about writing your book? Let me hear you.
Yeah.
All right, and now publishing your book as well, right? And funding your book, we're all good? All right, so pretty neat. So what I'd like to do is take a few minutes of your time to explain to you about what we have and how you could possibly partner with us to make this experience even faster and more profitable for you. So this is the part where it's optional, right? This isn't going to be a huge teaching moment any longer, but I'm going to encourage you to stay, whether or not, now let me just, by show of hands, whether or not you're even interested in doing it or whether or not you think you could afford or doing it, how many of you think you'd like to partner with Jerry and JG and myself and Black Card Books? Raise your hands. Nice and high so I can see you. All right, fantastic. So again, whether or not you are able to do that, I understand. Because, trust me, this is not for everybody. This is expensive stuff. It's expensive in one way, but as an investment, it's probably one of the greatest investments you'll ever make because it'll pay for itself 10 times, 100 times. We have clients that have paid for their investment in themselves 1,000 times over, and that's not an exaggeration. Like 1,000 times what they paid is what they've earned based on what they've created. And we can show you how to do that. We can help you do it as well. So I'm just going to take a couple of minutes to kind of tell you what it is, how the publishing company works. So this is our publishing company, Black Card Books. And what I want to share with you is something we call the Instant Author Program. What's it called?
Instant Author.
Yeah, if you're going to become an author, let's do it instantly. Let's make this happen quickly. Jerry will mention it in a little snippet later on, but I'm going to say it right now. Our goal for you is to actually have a hard copy of your book in your hands in 6 to 12 months. To have it done. And that's not an exaggeration. That's not a difficult task to do. That's something that is very doable. I will say this. You will never wait for us. We may wait for you, but you're not going to wait on us. We have the team. We have the experts involved to take care of this for you. So it's called our Instant Author Program. And what this does is it gives you the ability to partner with us. And I told you there's some expense involved because we do it a little differently than other organizations do it. A lot of publishers will do this. They'll give you an upfront fee for publishing. They'll sign a contract with you. They'll give you an upfront fee. And then they'll keep almost all of the revenue at the end. They'll keep 70 or 80%, and you'll get little pennies on the dollar for the rest of the duration, the lifespan of that book. We don't do things like that. And you'll find that we don't do a lot of things like everybody else does because everybody else is kind of mediocre about how they do it. We do it a way that really serves you. So here's what happens. The way we do it, kind of the upfront costs are your responsibility. You're going to pay for like the branding and the marketing stuff, and I'm going to go over that in a minute. But then from then on, the book is yours. Now, just so you know, at Black Card Books, Jerry, they get a fee. Whenever you order additional books, they get paid. It's $2 for the life of the book. And that's it. Everything else on that book is your profit. Any of the businesses that you generate because of that, that's your profit. And Jerry and Black Card Books and me will share with you, we'll teach you how to do that. So let's go over what you're going to get. Our goal is to create and give you a complete, what's that word? Turnkey system that helps you figure out, this is everything that you need to get the book done. The hand-holding, the information, the support, the coaching, all of it's there. For those of you that have spoken to Courtney in the back, I know you guys were talking about Zai. He shared with you his experience as an author, as somebody being published with us. If you haven't already, take the opportunity to talk to him, and hear his experience, like what actually happened. But this is turnkey, ladies and gentlemen. All of the steps that we walked through earlier today, in terms of when you're writing your book, how do you come up with those 10 titles for your chapters? The 15 down to the 10. Well, we're going to walk you through that. We're going to help you figure out what's the best way to phrase them. What makes them look more exciting? Because remember, what are people going to look at? The front cover, the back cover, and the table of contents. So your table of contents has to be pretty hot too. We're going to show you how to do that. I want to be clear. What we're offering, what I'm letting you know right now, is not another seminar. This is not where you're going to partner with us and we're going to invite you to something where we're going to teach you how to do this. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is us doing it together. By the way, together means us doing most of the work. Okay? Now, something Courtney said earlier, which I really loved, hey, listen, he could have done it on his own. He understood that. But his time is more valuable spent doing other things. How many of you try to do something you're not great at and realize it takes a lot of time? Because you haven't figured it out, it takes longer. If you've ever done something, when you do it the first time, it takes forever. When you do it the second time, it gets a little bit faster. By the 20th time you're doing it, it's like, whoop, you don't even know it's done, and it's done really well. See, that's what we're good at. We're not good at everything, but we're really good at this, and we're experts at it, and we've done it for over 600 authors. Over that time, we've learned how to do it quick. We've learned how to do it better than anybody else on the planet can do it, in my opinion. And we're going to do that for you. So it's going to free up all of your time to do the creative stuff, either whether it's the writing, whether it's going out and seeking or finding the advertisements for your book, whether it's creating the speaking empire around your book, or whether it's creating webinars or seminars or teleseminars that allow you to be remote and still speak to people. That's the stuff that's going to create wealth and riches for you. We're going to help you do that. On top of that, we're actually going to give you some free books as part of your partnership with us. Where else what other organization is going to do most of the work for what I think is a very reasonable fee? But I'm telling you, it's up there. It's definitely up there. But on top of that, they actually will give you, as part of the fee, for the privilege of allowing us to do all the work, we're going to give you free books so that you can recoup a large portion of your investment. Who else? Nobody does that. But we're going to give you. You're going to get free books. They're going to be delivered right to you. You're going to go pick them up. Here's the other cool thing. You're going to have access to Jerry's Rolodex to help you promote your business. I would say that I want to be really clear about one thing right now. Publishing your book, writing your book, printing and editing your book. You can do that almost anywhere. I think we do it better than almost everybody, I know that we do it better than everybody I know, but I don't know everybody in the industry. So I'm going to assume there's probably some really great people that do this stuff. Now, a lot of people charge a lot of money and they deliver a really kind of cruddy service, but we charge a lot of money and we deliver a great service. But all that being said, that's not why you should partner with us. You should partner with us because of Jerry Robert and because of Jerry Robert's contacts, because Jerry Robert's Rolodex, and because Jerry Robert's ability to find the money around your book. See, when you partner up with Jerry, he's going to help you get rich selling your book. He's going to help you get rich talking about your book. And just to be clear, we don't make any money when you talk about your book. We don't make any money when you sell something around your book. Just the book. You print the book, we get $2. That's it. Nothing else aside from that. But you're going to have access to people at Amazon.com, Allstate, Visa, MetLife, PayPal, and all the amazing presenters up at the top of the screen. Mark Victor Hansen, all these huge names there. You're going to have access to them through Jerry. Jerry, when we do our consultation with you, and he's pretty involved with almost every one of our authors, what we're good at, what Jerry is unbelievable at, is helping you find all the avenues to create income around your book. Now, those don't generate any revenue for us on the front end. But what happens is the more things you do around your book, the more books you're going to sell. Every time you sell a book, you're going to need to order another book. Cha-ching, we get $2. $2. Now, that doesn't seem like a lot of money. Except we have 600 authors that are ordering plus, and it's growing all the time. They just went over to India, and it's like, holy cow, nobody's seen anything like it over there. So that it's growing and growing like crazy. But $2 at a time times thousands and thousands and thousands, that turns into a lot of money. So everything that we do on the front end, all those costs for you, the investment in yourself in the front end, that's not where we make money. Because for those of you that are familiar, we have to do all the work for you in the beginning. We have to pay people to do that. And we have over 100 people dedicated to you. So all the money that you pay us in the beginning, that pretty much covers our expenses. Our money comes $2 at a time on the back end. And Jerry's going to help you find the money everywhere. I want to share with you this is somebody that Jerry ran into at one of his events. He drove hours and hours and hours to talk to Jerry, and this is what he had to say. I just want you to listen to what this gentleman had to say.
Okay, go ahead.
This is Michael, and Michael was a student of mine, and I wrote this book and I autographed it to him 1999. I autographed that book to him. This is the old cover. And one of the concepts I teach is the captain and the crew, where we set goals and we tell our subconscious mind what it is we want. And Michael just blew me out of the water by sharing. Well, why don't you just share what you just said to me?
Well, I have goal to become a multi-millionaire, and this is my goal sheet, which is all tattered and torn.
His original
10
goal
years from
sheet
now,
from like
I
10
still
years
kept in my
before.
wallet, and I have actually achieved my goal, thanks to Jerry Roberts.
That's so good. Congratulations, my friend.
Now, here's something that Jerry explains about the video, because you kind of catch part of it. This was the second, the gentleman came, he drove 10 hours to get there to see Jerry, because he heard Jerry was going to be there, and he just wanted to talk to him. He wanted to thank him. So he drove 10 hours down to where, because he was in this remote area, to go and talk to him. The first time that he showed Jerry, he was hysterical crying, just because he was so grateful. Jerry shares his goal was not to become a millionaire. His goal was to amass $10 million. And he was able to do that, which is why he was so grateful to Jerry. When he stopped crying, they filmed him, and then he said a little bit. But that was his original goal sheet. You know, my question is, what are your goals? You can achieve anything that you set your mind to. So what do you want? You know, because your book can help you get it there. Probably faster than any other business tool that you can imagine. A book can make it happen faster than anything that I am aware of. And I am pretty successful in multiple businesses. The book and the things that I'm creating around the book are by far the most lucrative, the quickest, the fastest way to additional cash revenue and providing value than anything I've ever done before. There is no better way to do it than through using a book. So, again, we're going to help you find the fastest cash to the biggest the fastest path to the biggest cash. In addition to publishing, Jerry does private consulting. His consulting work, now he consults some of the biggest names in the business, all right? Unique. And by the way, this is how much Jerry has earned just through business consulting. So this is the kind of consulting. $1.7 million from Unique. $18 million from Bob Proctor, the author of The Secret. Jerry was the impetus. Jerry was the marketing expert behind the movie The Secret. Was that a successful movie, by the way? Yes, seen or read by over 500,000 or 500 million people. Over like 500 million people around the planet at this point. $18 million in consulting fees to Bob Proctor. Do you think Bob was sad to pay $18 million for Jerry to consult? No, because that's just a fraction of what he made. But this is what Jerry gets on a regular basis. You're going to have access to that kind of coaching. We're going to teach you how to find new customers. We're going to teach you about selling your books. We're going to work you through organizing, getting those speaking engagements. We're going to help you create and set up consulting gigs. We're going to talk to you about creating joint ventures and creating continuity programs. And then we're going to help you reformat and repackage your book. Because once you do that work, it doesn't end there. You can create multiple ways to reuse that. So you can create a home learning course. You can create an audio book. You can create a visual study package. You can create a coaching program, a membership site, a continuity program. We're talking about selling books. Jerry's at home one night. Jerry is telling me this story. He's sitting at home. He's not home. He's sound asleep. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. 3 o'clock in the morning, his phone rings. And he's like, what? And it's one of our authors on the phone. He's like, hey, Jerry. He goes, I know it's 3 o'clock in the morning. I know I probably woke you up. He's like, she knows she woke me up. So what is it? So she says, well, I just had to call you. I just got an email from Pampers, the company Pampers. Now, she had written a book with Jerry on massage for infants. So infant massage. She got a call from Pampers, and Pampers had told her, she tells Jerry, Pampers just called, they want to order 500,000 books. Jerry's like, you can wake me up anytime, you know? And then Jerry took over the deal. And I'm sorry, I think it was 200,000, not 500,000.
Yeah.
Just to be 200,000 books. Only 200,000. I know. I'm sorry. I just lost my head there for a minute. $200,000 books. Now, by the way, Jerry gets paid per book when you order books. Now, at 200,000, I'm pretty certain that they arranged a small discount on that. But that's great for the author and for Jerry. True. And for all the people in the Pampers organization that we're going to get that. But we're going to walk you through all of these processes, all the ways to make more money around your book. We're going to help show you where the real money is. We're going to teach you to sell more, to convert the material into other things that you can sell, other products that you can sell. We're going to show you how to get free publicity. And we're going to talk about this tomorrow. You can use your book to get free publicity. Many of you who are in business, how many of you know this? If you don't, I'm going to tell you. It costs a lot of money to buy advertising, to get your name out there, to get to the top of the Google search and stuff like that, to buy a commercial time on TV. You have a book, you become an author, you become the expert, people will be dying to put you on the radio. They'll be looking forward to getting you on TV. They'll give you tons of publicity. You'll get in the newspapers, you'll get in magazines. We have some of our authors have been interviewed, they've been put into Time magazine, every television show, Dr. Oz, Oprah, The Ellen Show, Financial News Work, on and on and on, because they've written a book, because they're an author. A month before that, nobody would want to talk to them. Now that they're an author, they're an expert, everybody wants to hear from you. It's incredible. We're going to teach you about selling to groups instead of one-on-one. We're going to help you set that up. Build your brand for you. We're going to have you doing speaking. We're going to show you about creating mastermind groups. By the way, mastermind groups. I have friends of mine that run mastermind groups. The fee to join their mastermind group, the annual fee to join their mastermind group, $40,000. And the mastermind group is limited, but it's limited to 10 people. It's just 10 people. $40,000 times 10. What's the math on that, anyone? How much? Yeah, $400,000. By the way, that's just one of the mastermind groups. He has more than one group, but they're limited to 10 each. He's such a sport. $400,000 times a couple, that's not so bad. We're going to talk again about joint ventures, about getting better clients, and about creating multiple streams of income. So all of this, how much are we going to get paid to help you do this? $2. $2 a book, that's it. Ongoing. Now, there it is, $2. Do we want to help you get better at every one of those things? Sure we do. Why? Because I want my $2. Jerry wants his $2. It sounds really funny, but listen, with all the work that we do on the other side, there's not a lot of profit on the front end. It's like speaking for free. It really is. You guys didn't pay to be here. We footed the bill on this. This is all good. Because we're going to find a couple of really awesome authors that want to partner with us. And we know it's not everybody. It's not going to be for most of you. I know. It's going to be out there. It's going to be a stretch. You're really going to have to want it, and you're going to have to want to take action. I can promise you, though, that if you're one of the few that do, you're in for a ride. It's going to be amazing. But this is where we make our big bucks, that $2. How does the program work? The first thing that happens is a discovery session. You're going to sit down with one of our project leaders, right? They're going to sit down with you, kind of like some of us have had these conversations. What do you do? What do you want to sell? Who is your target population? What is your objective? Do you want more sales? Do you want more customers? Do you want more opportunity? Do you want more publicity, more notoriety? What is it? Do you want to be visualized as the expert in your field? We're going to sit down and we're going to figure all that out with you. Then we're going to do this. Check out this word right here. We're going to create a strategy. It's not hodgepodge. We're not going to go, let's just make the book and hope it works. No, we're not. It's not print and pray. We're going to plan. We're going to design. We're going to engineer your success. We're going to help you choose the right topic for your book. And to be fair, some of you are going to tell us what you want to do. And you know what you're going to hear? You can't do that. We're not going to let you do that. Because it's not going to make you money. However, if you just tweaked it a little bit and made it this, you could get very, very rich. Is it okay if we tell you stuff like that? Instead of just saying, oh, your book is so wonderful, it's going to be great, go right ahead. No, we're not going to do that. Because what we want is we want you to become incredibly wealthy doing that. So we're going to stop you from being your own worst enemy. Many of you may not like that. Some of you, and this happens, and I'm sorry that it does. Some people get really attached to their opinion. They're like, oh, but I have such a great idea. Well, maybe. But so-and-so told me that it's a great idea. And here's my question. Does so-and-so, has he earned $100 million in the publishing industry? Creating successful authors. If he has, then fantastic, you should listen to him. If he hasn't, you might want to listen to Jerry Robert. Because Jerry Robert has. He's one of the very few in the publishing industry that has earned over $100 million in his career. In this industry. Creating amazing, incredible authors. And it'd be awesome if you could be one and join us. Number 2, the implementation part. This is where we actually lay out all of the things you have to do. So once we do this, I'm going to show you something in a moment. We're going to actually put it into a proprietary software that Jerry has invested millions of dollars in, designed specifically for you to achieve the goal of having your book in 12 to 6 months. And what happens is, as soon as we decide, hey, listen, all right, great, we know what you want to do. Now we're going to figure out, hey, listen, this is how it's going to happen. This is what our plan of attack is. How many of you realize it's important to have a plan of attack, by the way? Okay, yeah. So we've got a plan. Again, it's not print and pray. All right. Now the next thing is, how do we implement that? How do we keep you on track? Do you remember this morning? We did the whole, how do you write it in 40 hours? There was a simple strategy there, right? Well, what happens is, once we actually put in your strategy, once we put in your book, your team leader is going to enter all of the information into a computer system or proprietary software for you to design and create and have your book delivered in that time frame. And what it's going to do is it's going to go, and it's going to populate all the tasks that must be completed and by which dates. Everything, over 272 individual and specific tasks that absolutely must be completed for you to have a successful launch of your book. And you're going to know when they're due. And then your staff, your team, the people that are going to be working with you, they're going to help keep you on track throughout the entire process. How many of you could use a babysitter once in a while? We'll be that, if you need it. Now, some people are really self-motivated. They're like, hey, listen, I see it. It says it right on my spreadsheet. I have to do it. Good. Some of you need a little kick, a little nudge to get going. Yes? An elbow? All right. Jerry's a big guy. We got elbows, all right? We've got what you need. And here's what I'm glad you said that. We can be as hard with you or as soft with you as you like. That's one of the things we're going to learn about you as we're working together. I truly mean this. If you decide to partner with us, you're not just going to become one of our authors, you become one of our family. And this is the family that cares about what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. They're the family that tell you the truth because they want the most out of you. So if you need a real big elbow, Anthony, I got one for you. If you just need more gentle persuasion, we've got that for you too. But we're going to figure each other out. We're going to get to know one another. And over the course of the years, we have discovered what motivates people. We know how to get the best out of you. We're like the most unbelievable coach you could ever imagine. On top of being an expert in the field of publishing, on top of being second to none in the field of marketing, we're also great in helping you achieve your full potential. And we're going to be good at that. We're going to be here for you. All right? The next thing is there's going to be some results on here, okay? So we want your results. We want to be able to measure those. So we're going to set up those everything. We're going to create an implementation strategy. And then we're going to monitor your results. We're going to make sure that you're doing what you said you want to do. Because we agreed on this all together for your benefit, so that your book can come out, so that you can have all the things you want. And then all of that's going to be put together on an Excel sheet. So on your Excel sheet, now this isn't it, but you're going to get a spreadsheet that's going to list all the tasks when they're going to do. And one of the ways you're going to keep track of that is this little site. Now, does this site look familiar to you, by the way? What does it look like? It looks a little bit like Facebook, right? We did that so that it looks familiar to you, so that it's not alien, that you can move forward. But this is really great. This is our proprietary software that's going to keep you in touch with all of the people that are working on your book. So, number one, over here, this is considered your wall right here, okay? So this is where all of your assignments are going to be on, all the people that are helping you out. You're going to be communicating with the people who are on your team. Now, at each section or at each level of development, whether it's the strategy session or whether it's the implementation, whether we're working on your title and your subtitle, whether we're working actually on your cover design, whether we're working on your formatting, we have teams. What's the word, please? That are great at those one things. Now, we mentioned this earlier. How many of you realize when you do something over and over again, you get better and better at that one thing? True? Well, we know that. So we've created teams that focus on one portion of your book development. So what happens is you're going to be moved, each team, depending on where you are in the publishing process, you're going to be assigned a team to help you do that. Your team is going to communicate with you on your wall. You're going to have your own wall for your book that's going to be listing out all the things that you need to do. So on here, there's a production schedule. So remember when I said we have this proprietary software that's going to populate all the things that are responsible for you? That's all going to be here in your production schedule. Here's your team members. There's going to be photos, so you're going to get to see what all those people look like. Now, every team is going to work on the individual components of developing, producing, publishing your book, okay? At each team, now there may be many team members all working together on your project. They're all going to communicate with one another, so it's going to be group discussions back in the office. But there's also always going to be a team leader, a principal, who you're going to be in direct communication with, that they're going to guide the rest of the team, make sure that things that you desire are happening for you. Here's something that's really cool, right here. In the top right-hand corner of your wall, there's a button. At any time, what time, please? At any time, if you're stuck, you have a question, you don't know what to do next, you don't know how to do this, you're going to click that button if you like, and 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, there will be one of our team or happiness leaders. Okay, so we have a whole happiness staff. Their job is to make sure that you're happy. Their job is to make sure that you get all of your questions answered. Your job that you make sure that all of your fears are put to rest. Your job is to make sure that all of your needs are attended to. One of them will be available to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to make sure that you get that happen. So let's talk about your teams for a second, okay? Everybody's going to have a team. So number one, you're going to have a group of people that are all focused on a particular portion of your book development. Again, whether it's production, whether it's design, whether it's cover design, whether it's selection of your title and your subtitle, you're going to assign a team. Each team is going to have an individual group leader or a mentor, somebody who's your point of contact for that group. Up above here, these people up here, these are your happiness managers, okay? If you notice, there's not a lot of layers in this company. Here's basically, you're going to meet somebody down here, 1, 2, boop, and now you're talking to Jerry and JG, right up at the top. By the way, when it comes to your cover design, when it covers your title, Jerry Robert is involved with the decision making on every one of those for every one of our authors. So I want you to know you're getting Jerry's 100% commitment and attention to your book. He wants to make sure that your book is a smashing, unbelievable success. Jerry Robert has final approval on your book. No, he doesn't have final approval. He has the final approval in our company on your cover and on your title and subtitle. You have final decision on whether you will allow that to move forward or not. The decision is always, what's the word? Always yours. But in the company, it ends with Jerry. Jerry's 28 years of experience, 28 years of expertise in creating successful authors dedicated to you, making sure that it's done right. That's pretty neat. Starting out in the beginning, when we do the discovery process, we're going to walk you through. Now, we did a little exercise yesterday on, what's your primary objective, who's your target audience, and what are their needs, desires, and problems. And we did a pretty good start with that. True. We're going to dig a little deeper right now. So there's a whole intake. You're going to do this whole discovery survey sheet that you're going to fill out, where you're going to put in all the information on your book. And then you and your team are going to dive really deep into this, because the more specific you can be, the more clear you can be about your objective, the better we can help in designing the perfect, what's that word? Not good, not the perfect book for you. The one that will create wealth for you, the one that will make a difference for you. That's what we want for each and every one of our authors. And then we're going to help you identify their needs, desires, and problems. And the reason that's so important, by the way, is because this, around here, this is where you're going to create all the wealth around your book. Your book is going to solve a problem, then teaching about it, talking about it, creating mentorships about it, creating masterminds around it, doing workshops about it, creating other books or products around it. That's what this is all designed to do. You want to be really clear about that. Jerry and his team are amazing at helping you do that. Okay. Title and cover analysis. We're going to help you create some amazing covers, all right? So here's a couple of them. By the way, these covers, scientifically designed, based on 39 psychological factors. Now, I'm not going to tell you what they are. That's proprietary information. But know this. No cover goes out our door until those factors have been assessed and Jerry Robert has final approval, making sure that you've got the most amazing cover. And it's, by the way, we don't just give you one cover and say, all right, this is what we recommend. It's not, here you go, yes or no. No, you got a couple of choices, so check these out. A couple of different options. We're going to give you a whole bunch of them. You saw I gave you like 4 or 5. Now, by the way, I showed you a couple of the ones they did for me. That was just a few of them. I have like 8 of those. We had another gentleman that I was actually, when I was doing this in Las Vegas 2 weeks ago, he didn't like his cover. He wanted to change a couple of things. He went through 28 versions. 28 before he found the perfect cover. I'm telling you what, it's smoking hot, by the way. But we'll do it till you're happy with it. Our mission is to create one. Well, I'm going to say this. We do want you to be happy, but we also want you to trust us a little bit. Trust that we know what the heck we're doing. So I want you to trust us and be happy. I want you to know that, listen, even though you may like a cover, we may try to say, you know what, I think this would work better, and here's why, and we'll explain it to you. And if you still want to do it, all right, we'll let you. But we're going to let you know what works, because it's proven, because it's duplicatable, and it's because it's based on scientific fact. We're going to do that for you. There's another company out there, and I said this before. Now, I believe that there are probably some other good publishing companies. They can't do what Jerry can do for you. But maybe when it comes to printing a book, that's okay. So one of our authors came in, and they decided they also did work with another publisher, quote unquote, all right, who had another product, and it was about the same price as ours, and they said they were going to do cover design and all this stuff, and she was telling Jerry about what it is, what they did for the amount of money, because they had done both. And she was like, Jerry, you're not going to believe what this guy's doing. And he says, well, let me have your login, let me check it out. So here's their cover design. So you get to go to their webpage and you get to select one of these covers. Allow me to expand. Well, there you go. Isn't that awesome? Yeah, there you go. There you go. No, it's really simple though. Title here. You can put some text in the cloud. Your subtitle can go over here. You put your little author name over there. You put some stuff because that's going to be the spine of your book. Wow, that looks professional, doesn't it? But wait, there's more. It comes in red and green. Pretty neat, right? So here's the deal. You can spend the same amount of money. You can spend thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of dollars and get that. Or you could get things like this. Which one would you rather have on your book? How many of you say the top? How many of you say the bottom? Yeah, you're gonna get on the bottom. Of course, you want that. Remember, Joel Roberts said it's not the book, it's the hook. And the hook is your cover. You've got to have a smoking hot cover, and we're gonna help you create that. We're gonna do professionally. We're gonna professionally lay out your book. This costs thousands of dollars, thousands and thousands, just in laying out the book, making sure that the page breaks go on the right side, making sure that everything's positioned properly. We're going to take care of all of that for those of you that choose to partner with us. We're going to do all of your basic editing for your book. So you're going to give us your manuscript. We're going to do the basic editing to make sure that it's right. This is the best part. We're going to help you find the money. We want you to get very, very rich talking about, teaching about, and selling your book. Because that means you're going to need more books. And if you need more books, how much money are we going to make? $2. Love that $2. $2. That's it. By the way, anything that we help you do around your book, that's your money. We don't get any piece of that. You do a workshop, we don't get any of that. You create a new product around your book, we don't get any of that. You create a mastermind, we don't get any of that. You create a webinar, we don't get any of that. You create an entire speaking industry, we don't get any of that. And if you remember that spreadsheet from earlier today, most of your wealth is going to come from those other things, not from the book. So we're getting a small portion of the smallest part of what's going to make you rich in this industry. Mary Beth Haynes, we introduced her earlier today. You are going to get her as your personal money coach. She's going to help you set up those interviews. She's going to walk you through creating and selling those interviews. She's going to actually put you online. She's going to teach you online what you do, what you say, how to make it work. She's going to answer any of your questions. If you run into stumbling blocks, she's going to help you work through that. Jerry mentioned earlier, or if she didn't, I think maybe Mary Beth did, but we're going to encourage you to record your initial calls. So when you're calling them up to set the interviews, record them. Because if you find that this isn't working, well, you can actually share the recording with Mary Beth and she'll go, aha, here's what wasn't working. Why don't you try doing it this way? And then when you do it that way, you're going to find that it works like that. So she's going to help you find the money to fund your book, which is pretty cool. We're going to create your advertising kit. You saw me share. So here's Courtney's advertising kit. We're going to create this advertising kit for you, completely branded for you, with your photos, with your book cover, with your bio, all of your information, all going to be in here. All you have to do is take it to the printer and have it created. So you have a professional advertising kit, professional media kit, which is something that many people don't have. We're going to actually design your business cards for you as an author, as the author of your book. Again, we're going to brand you entirely. Now, I don't know if many of you are familiar with branding. How many of you are familiar with branding services and things like that? How many of you realize that actually to create full line of branding could cost you $50,000, $60,000, $70,000, maybe more, right? It costs unbelievable. You're going to get Jerry and his team working on creating your entire branding around you and your book, establishing you as an expert and an author. We're going to create postcards that you can mail to announce your book. We're going to create your buy now cards. You have Courtney's is here, okay? These buy now cards so you can sell your book now. You're going to capture their name. You're going to capture their money before you've got the hard copy of your book. We're going to get this to you early on in the process, okay? The very first thing we're going to work on, just so you know, we're going to work on creating an amazing title and subtitle, and we're going to work on creating an incredibly designed cover. Because with that, now you go out. Now, do you need that to start selling ads, to start talking about your book, to even pre-sell your book? Do you need that? No, you don't. You don't. You can sell it. All you need is the idea and some chutzpah, and you can go out and do that. But if you have a cover to show people, and you have an amazing title in that, and now you show them that, does that give you a little more credibility?
Yes.
Sure it does. That's why we're going to get that to you as early as possible, as early as we can. All right? We're going to create your order forms for you. So again, so that you can sell your book. Again, totally branded with all the information you need to capture. And we're going to also create your media kit. So this is what you're going to present to people when you're promoting yourself to them, when you're going to other events, when you want to get into corporations, when you want to get into local chambers of commerce and Kiwanis and Lions clubs and libraries and schools. This is where you teach them about who you are, what you can do for them. All completely professionally designed for you. We're actually going to design your email banner. So when your emails go out, Even your email looks professional. It's going to have a banner, again, completely branded, identifying you as an author and as an expert. By the way, is this sounding pretty good so far? How many of you think this is pretty hot stuff? Raise your hands. Whether you can do it or not, at this point I don't care. How many of you think this is like awesome stuff, right? I mean, it's incredible, right? Now, on top of all, but wait, there's more. On top of all of that, right? We're going to create some seminar posters. So when you go to an event, you can put up these nice big posters, nice big picture of you or a graphic that you like, a picture of your book. Then all you do is you enter kind of where and when and how they get in touch with you down on the bottom there. On top of that, we're also going to design your roll-up banners. Again, so all the signage that you're going to need for the events that you're going to do, for your speaking engagements, for your book sale events, all of that completely taken care of you. Here's one of our other authors with their entire kit, smiling away over there, okay? You're also going to have access to Blackheart Book University, where everything that we've done, all of the workshops that we've done, all of the resources that we've got, all available to you online 24/7. On top of that, we are also going to create the electronic version of your book for you in multiple forms. Because if you put something on your iPhone or on your iPad, it's different than what you need for a Kindle or a Nook. We're going to create all the versions of the book so that you've got that. But wait, there's more. How many of you have ever gone to the movies? Ever? You guys still with me? Now, before the movie starts, what do they play? Some commercials, and then they do the previews with the trailers, right? So Jerry was in the movies, and he's like thinking, he's like going, hey, wouldn't it be cool? Because this is what Jerry does. Jerry thinks of stuff that nobody ever thinks of. Like, because people think, oh, let's do a trailer for a movie. Like, that makes sense. Jerry's like, what if we made a trailer for a book? I know, right? That's pretty cool. Like, nobody ever thought of that before, but that's the kind of way that Jerry thinks. That's how cool it is when you partner with him. So, check it out. Jerry Roberts film, right? But that's kind of hot, isn't it? That's like smoking hot. Like, you got your own book trailer. It's like, oh man, where do I get one? And you tell them where to get one. Where they go is they go to your opt-in page. So we're actually going to design your opt-in page, your landing page for your book. Again, look what's on here, okay? You have a place for your trailer to play right there, and then just because you're so excited about the trailer, boop, go over here. Give me your name, give me your email, blah, blah, blah. You're going to get all this, plus you're going to get the bonuses all on that opt-in page. That's pretty cool, isn't it? All designed for you. Yes, ma'am. I don't personally do the trailer, but Jerry has, we have people that do the trailer. We've got a staff. Yeah, that's all done in-house. We're going to create all of that stuff for you. We've created a team that does that. Now, how many of you think that maybe selling ads is, even though we've explained it, even though Mary Beth's going to be there, it may seem a little uncomfortable for you to do that? How many of you would think that? Okay, how many of you would like an even easier way to get people excited about your book and your process? A few of you. All right, awesome, more than a few. So here's the deal. Who could actually, do you think, could sell more people to be interested in, to support, to invest in your book by advertising in your book? Do you think you would do a better idea or Jerry? How many of you would love to have Jerry sell people into advertising in your book? Well, I'm glad you raised your hand, because that's exactly what it's going to do. So check it out. There's a website on here. It's a free webcast done by Jerry. It puts the date, so it tells them when it's going to be. Now, here's the deal. You let people know, hey, listen, I've got a book, and there's a script for it, by the way, so we're going to share with you the whole script. You let people know, hey, listen, we'd love to get you to know about the book, to find out how you can involve, how it can help your business. We'd like you to just listen to this short webcast that's going to be on. It's going to be Jerry. Jerry will then sell people about how to get involved with your book, letting them know what to do on the webcast. Now, what's really neat is once they register on the site, you're going to get an email. Now, all the database, by the way, you keep the database. We don't have access to that. It's autoresponder. So what's going to happen is you get an email that says, "Bing, so-and-so registered." Oh, great. When the webcast starts, you get one that goes, "Bing, so-and-so showed up on the webcast." And if they don't show up, you get an email that goes, "Bing, they didn't show up." And now you can go and call them and find out what happened to them. But meanwhile, they're going to actually watch Jerry telling them how awesome you are, how amazing the opportunity is to invest in your book. That's pretty cool. Yes? Now, listen, I told you I'm recreationally inclined. If Jerry's willing to do the work, and I'll tell you this, he can probably do it way better than I can, I'm going to let him. I think you might want to consider that as well. All right? Next thing on here. All right? So the free webcast, that tells you how long it is. That's where they sign up, and then they're going to get their emails there. So we're also going to help you set up your social media, your Facebook, your Twitter, your LinkedIn. We're going to create your YouTube account. We'll do all the things that you need to do to actually help get that message out about your book. For me, using social media was a huge part about letting people know about my book. I went from a couple years ago having 9 people on Twitter. 9 people followed me on Twitter, and 3 of them were family members, and my mother opted in twice. Just saying, all right? Now it's almost 40,000 people. But there's a process to do that. We're going to help you brand it. We're going to help you do that. All right? We're also going to guarantee, what's that word?
Guarantee.
10 author endorsements for your book. That sets you up as the expert that acknowledges the incredible work that's within those pages, within the cover and the back page, all right? 10 of those, all right? You're also going to get featured on the Black Card Books page, the author's page. This was modeled after the pages put on by the major publishers, all right? Simon & Schuster, Barnes & Noble. If you go to their author pages, this is what they look at. Jerry will make no bones about it. He stole it from them. He stole the idea. He designed his own based on their model because it's a kind of sweet model. So if you go on the page, on here, they're going to list the authors. There's author profiles for people that submit those things. There's places for you to get downloadable versions of your book. There's a bio. So whenever people go, they want to check out the publisher, they're going to find you right on that publisher page. You're going to have access to that as well. Okay? Again, all the categories, all done there. By the way, you're also going to get to visit us at any future Publish Your Book and Grow Rich events to help promote your book, whether maybe you wanted to reinforce some of your knowledge, whether you wanted to network with other inspiring authors. You're also, by the way, going to be invited to attend any of the NAC events, the large National Achievers Congresses with the likes of Tony Robbins, Mark Victor Hansen, Les Brown, Sir Richard Branson. I know your wife's going to want to come, Anthony, so I'm going to mention it again. All right? But you're going to get to go to those events. You're going to get to say that you've shared the stage with them. Now, some of you actually may be invited to speak a little bit at some of the times, but just to actually come up and be acknowledged on the stage would be amazing. Plus, you're going to get to actually show up. You're going to actually be able to sell your books at the event. So here's a couple of our authors in front of a huge event, thousands of people. London, Bangkok, Miami. There they are on stage, all getting some acknowledgement, somebody speaking on there. Another one of our authors. Oh, here we go. Oh, there we go. Here's the best part. Check out this one. This is what I want you to notice. Look at this. What is that? Yeah, that's money. He's making money. He's at the event and he's selling his book at the same time. And he's got an Angry Birds book. You can't go wrong with Angry Birds, right? All right. Yeah, and he's smiling. Well, you'd be smiling too if people were giving you wads of cash over and over again. That's pretty neat. Success Seminar World Tour. Les Brown, Chris Gordon, Tom Hopkins. Again, there's this guy with the mustache. What's his name? Oh yeah, that's Jerry Robert. You're going to be on stage with these amazing presenters. You're going to be able to say there. On top of that, Jerry will promote your book. Jerry will personally write a recommendation for your book. It will be in there. He's going to help you promote your book. Now, why on earth would Jerry want to promote your book?
$2.
That's right, $2, baby. Cha-ching, over and over again. $2. Listen, $2 adds up. When you're doing thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of those $2 start to add up. Jerry will write an endorsement for you. Again, an endorsement by the best-selling author of The Millionaire Mindset. That looks pretty nice on your book. It's really great to have other known authors, people in the industry, recommending, promoting your book. We're going to do that for you as well. Right? We're going to help you set up these never-ending campaigns that are online, that go on infinity, so you don't have to actually do any more work. I love never-ending campaigns. Those are like the set it and forget it. You ever see those things where they take like a turkey and they stick it in this thing with the roller, they close the door and they set it and forget it? This is what you're going to do with your book. You're going to set up your website, you're going to have an autoresponder system, it's going to automatically deliver. We're going to help you set up those campaigns. How many of you want this, by the way? Say, I want it.
I want that.
Are you sure? If money weren't an issue, raise your hands big and tall. Let me see how many of you would want it. Fantastic, right? Well, here's what most people do, though. This is what most people do. They say, yeah, I want it, but first I'm going to figure things out. And then once I figure it out, then I'm going to join. And it's like literally, it's like shooting yourself in the foot. Because you're hampering your success. You're hampering yourself from moving forward. So I have a question for you. If you had all of that, if you had all the tools, now you got the marketing piece, you've got the cover, you've got the hot title, you've got all of the pre-sale cards, you've got your order forms, you've got your advertising kit, you've got your media kit, you've got your posters, you've got your banners, you've got your website, you've got your email banners, you've got Jerry and our team helping you promote and sell and set up speaking engagements. You've got everything that you need to move forward. If you did that, how many of you would feel confident that you could sell 100 books a month? How many of you would feel confident that with all of that behind you, you could sell 50 books a month? And how many of you, I mean, pretty much, I don't need to wait for the test, how many of you could sell 20 books a month with all that behind you? Okay? Raise your hands, didn't I say big and tall? Yeah, 20 books a month. Cool. So, let's talk about how much the program is. By the way, we have medical staff with cardio equipment in the back for those of you that need it. And boom, there you go. The entire publishing fee is $34,999. By the way, you heard some of our authors say that they paid 6 figures for this. All right? Now, how many of you would like, by the way, a better deal than that? Well, you have to ask. Say, you know, I would be happy to give you a better deal. I would. So here you go. Here's your better deal. Today, $29,995. So it's $30,000. So here's what that means, by the way. I want you to think about this. Over the next little bit, if you sold 882 books, now we're recommending that you sell your book around $34 a book, but if you sold 882 books, you're paid for the program. Completely paid for the program. If you sold 9 ads, not only would you pay for the program, but you'd make money. Basically, you sell 8 and you're just a little bit shy. You sell 9, you've paid for the entire program, and you've made about $2,000 on top of that. Just 9 ads. And Mary Beth is going to walk you through the system. We're going to help you the entire way. We're going to help with your scripting. We're going to help with your follow-up. If you don't know what to say at the interview, you just say these words. I'd love to answer that question, but I'm going to have to check with my publisher. And then you go, ring-a-ding-ding, hey, Jerry, I have a question. And somebody at our office, one of our happiness managers, will take care of that for you. How many new customers could your books bring you? How many new customers would it take to totally pay for your entire publishing package? For some of you, your magic, remember that magic number. How many of you had a magic number of 3,000 or more? Raise your hands. How many of you had a magic number of 4,000 or more? Okay? A lot of you aren't raising your hands no matter what. So, but if you got 10 new customers, that would pay for it. Do you think your book, the expertise around your book, is going to generate more business for you, by the way?
Yes.
Of course it is. Yeah, it will do that. So, today only, the fee is $29,995, which means this. There's a deposit involved. The deposit is $7,999, okay? And that leaves you a monthly payment of $659 because there's financing available, okay? Just like when you buy a house, you don't lay it all out front. When Jerry, by the way, when Jerry did his first book publishing, he did it himself, he took out a second mortgage on his home. That's how much he invested in himself, how much he believed in himself. So I know that you believe in yourself. I know that I believe in you. But we want to make it a little bit easier. So we're going to do the financing now. You're responsible for the deposit. The balance is $659 monthly. So basically, if you sold 20 books a month, you would take care of that monthly fee, no problem at all. Okay? Now, if you wanted to, that 20 books a month will take care of that. The other thing that I want to let you know is we have some free books for you. So we're going to give you 200 books. 200 books. We're going to help you start off. We're going to help you start to pay for this. That's your first 10 months taken care of. If all you did was sell your books, that'll get you through the first 10 months. By then, you'll have lined up everything else you need. The ads in the back of your book, your bonus chapters if you choose to do so, all the other pre-sales that you're going to be getting on by then. But the books that we're going to give you, that's going to help get you started. That's going to help cover those costs. So that's another free 200 bucks. So I will say this. In the history of the company, not one person who's chosen to partner with us, who's chosen to partner with Jerry, not a single person has ever said, I wish I hadn't done that. They're all universally very happy that they've done so. So the question is, what keeps everyone else back? What stops them from doing that? It's a proven concept. It's a nearly guaranteed system. I mean, I say nearly guaranteed because I believe everybody has the right to screw something up. But if you just do what we ask you to do, if you follow the system, it is guaranteed. All right, you can do this. But what stops people? So to answer that question, I want to invite one of my mentors, Tony Robbins, to kind of chat with you.
Think about it. You can look at any business, and if you want to know what shifts a business, what shifts your life, there's one force: decision making. Decision making is the force that shapes destiny, personal, corporate, business destiny. How many of you can think of the decisions that you made years ago, 1 or 2 decisions, 5, 10, 15 years ago? That decision, you may not have realized at the time, but that decision was one of the most important decisions of your life. You've made a different decision there, you've gone a different direction, your life would be completely different today. Who can relate to this in your life? Say, I. Secret then is getting darn good at making more effective decisions. Now, by the way, are we always going to make the right decision, yes or no? Absolutely not, no way in a million years. But most people don't have the guts to make the tough decision because they want to make the right decision, so they make no decision. And that's a decision. Isn't it true?
It's all about decision. What are you going to make? What are you going to do to make that decision? And how does that work? So, and this is what I believe. This is what Jerry's mentor taught him, and I 100% believe this. This is what stops people, and I think this is true for everybody. We all this is a picture of us, okay? And we have like kind of a higher thought, like a higher mind. Like this is our actual belief system that we've got on there, and then underneath that you have your conditioned mind. Okay, so we've got our conscious mind, the thoughts that we hold, the beliefs that we hold, and underneath that you've got your conditioned mind, your inner programming. And what happens is a lot of times, because we've had our minds our whole lives, like many of you have had your minds your entire lives. Some of you lost them momentarily, but apparently you've got them back because you're here, okay? But many of us have had our minds our entire lives. So if you have like kind of X thoughts and X beliefs, you then take X actions. You become an X person. So then what happens is this. You move over, and now you're in a new environment, okay? So now you still have this X kind of belief system, your subconscious mind, your underlying beliefs about your value, your ability to move forward is still this X kind of value. But now you've got a new idea. So this whole book idea, this is a new paradigm for you. It's a new place to move forward. So now you've got this X idea and this Y idea, and the X idea and the Y idea don't really play nice together. So now you're trying to blend your old beliefs with this new idea, and then this means that something has to change. So then you move towards that change. Now, what do? Most people justify the idea. So rather than change, they try to justify. So they'll say, well, you know what, I can't afford it, or what would other people think about it, or it can't be that easy, or I don't know if this is going to work for me, or I can't, or I don't know how to do it, or some people say I'll do it later. We do have a lot of our students that say, you know what, listen, this is really great, I'm going to come back, I'll do it again. And just to honestly to let you know, the fact of the matter is, we've had people that have said, yeah, I'll come back and I'll do it again. It very rarely ever happens. Like 99% of the time, if you say no, that's going to be your decision forever. So just kind of know that when you're making your decision. I'm just going to ask you to make the right decision. And again, listen, I know that this is not appropriate for everybody. I understand that. I agree with you. This isn't for everybody. This is high end. But also, I'm going to make no apologies for how expensive this program is, because this program is completely worth it. This is the Cadillac of publishing programs. Not only are you going to get one of the finest quality books ever put out, but you're going to have access to the finest marketing mind around your book, and nobody else has that. And so what we charge, it should be triple that, by the way. So here's what happens. You've got this Y idea, it's trying to blend in the X idea, and now something's happening. So you go to move, and then this worry, this fear, the anxiety kicks in, and then, boom, you hit this terror barrier, the fear barrier, something that stops you from moving forward. Now at this point, when you hit right over here, boom, you bump up against this terror barrier, you've got a couple of choices. Choice number one, blow through it and get to the other side. Choice number two, bounce back and go back to right where you were and give up on the new idea so that you can feel comfortable again. But that's what holds people back all the time. If you want something new, you're going to have to do something new. You're going to have to take a different action. And I agree, I 100% agree. Doing new things, trying new things can be very scary at times. Trying something new can be uncomfortable, I got it. But if you're willing to be uncomfortable for a little while, you can be very comfortable forever. That's pretty cool, all right? So, all I'm going to ask you to do is to go as far as you can go. So let me share this story with you. Jerry is getting ready it's just before the Christmas holidays. It's about, I think it was like maybe 6 or 7 days before Christmas, and his mentor asks him, hey Jerry, what are you going to get Anne for Christmas? What would you like to get Anne for Christmas? And Jerry, this was kind of early on. He goes, well, I don't know what I can get her. I don't know how much of what I can afford to get her. And his mentor says, I didn't ask you what you could afford to get her. I said, what would you like to get her? And he says, well, what I'd like to get her is one of these minivans. Because minivans were hot back then, all right? Very old too, all right? So minivans were hot. So he goes, I'd like to get her a minivan, but I can't afford it. And then that's when his mentor went into this whole thing that'll stop you. Jerry, it's that kind of thinking that's stopping you. He goes, would you like me to help you get a minivan? And Jerry's like, oh my God, he's going to buy me a minivan. This is awesome. And he goes, well, yeah, I'd love you to help me get me a minivan. He says, well, I have two requirements. If you want my help, I need you to do two things. How many things? Number one, he goes, I need you to hold the idea of the minivan in your head no matter what. No matter what limiting thoughts, no matter what limiting beliefs, I need you to hold the thought of that minivan in your head. Can you do that? He says, I'll do it. He said, number two, no matter what, I just need you to take the next step necessary to make this happen. Are you willing to just take one step, the next step to make it happen? He goes, yeah, I'll do that. He goes, then I'm going to help you get that van. He picks up his phone and he calls his friend Rick at the dealership. He goes, hey, Rick? Yeah. He goes, hey, listen, a good friend of mine, Jerry Robert, he's coming over to buy a minivan. And he hangs up the phone. And Jerry's like, what are you doing? He goes, I can't afford the minivan. He goes, whoa, Jerry, you just told me. I just said two things. I didn't say you had to buy it. You told me you would do two things. Number one, that you could hold the thought that you could have a minivan. And number two, that you would just take the next step. And this 10 seconds later, and you're already, you go, no, you're right, I got it. Because all you have to do is go over it. You can't buy a minivan until you test drive a minivan. And you're just like, hey, you're right. So we took the next step. So we went over and he drove the minivan. He's like, this is pretty nice. So now he's like going, well, what's the next step? He's like, well, the next step, and Jerry's like going, well, I just have to take the next step. Well, you can't buy a minivan unless you tell him you want to buy a minivan. So Jerry said, I'll take it. At which point he gives him the paper. Now here's the interesting thing. So Jerry's going over the paperwork, and it's like way out of his budget to do it the way they said, but Jerry's like, well, listen, let me see if we can be a little creative about this. So the next step was getting a little creative. First it was getting over it. Then it was saying, going for the test drive. Then it was saying, I'll take it. Now it's the negotiation process. He goes, well, listen, if we took, and Jerry's telling, if we took the first 3 payments and we put them on the back and we limited the first couple of payments to this amount of money, would this work for you? And the guy's like, yeah, that'll work. Done. That morning, Christmas morning, 4 a.m. in the morning, Jerry says his mentor delivered the minivan in the middle of the night, put it outside his house. And on Christmas morning, his goal that he held in his head, I have goosebumps thinking about the story, was waiting for Ann when she walked out the door. That's pretty cool stuff, right? It's about taking the next step. Story about driving through the desert. When you drive through the desert, when you drive through the Serengeti Desert, there's no roads in the Serengeti. It's just all sand. And the way you move forward, and this is Brian Tracy tells the story, by the way. He says he's driving, he's on this kind of this desert journey. They're in this Land Rover, and they say buried throughout the desert are these oil cans, these 45-drum oil cans, and they're just put out there, and they're markers. So when you need to go, because there's no sound and the sand shifts, because basically you drive to an oil drum, and when you get there, you look around, and it's somewhere on the horizon you see the next oil drum, and that's where you go. You drive, and now you can't see beyond that. You can only see one drum at a time. And then when you get there, you get to here, and then you look, and then there's one more oil, and then you drive to that one. So he's telling the story. He says, well, we got to one of the oil drums, and there was no other oil drum in sight. We're in the middle of the desert, and we can't see the next drum. So we had a choice. We could stay where we are and die. We could drive back where we came from because we knew the way, or we could move forward. And they decided to move forward. So what they did is they took the next step. They drove in the direction they had been heading, and they drove on, and he says about 1 kilometer or so, about 1 mile or so further up the road. Now they could still see where they came from. So there still was some safety there. They knew they could get that, but when they got about 1 mile out on the horizon, they saw the next drum. A lot of times we don't know what our future is going to hold until we take the step. That's what I'm going to encourage you to do today. You may not know what the future holds for you. You may not know all the amazing possibilities that can occur from you, from creating your own book, from publishing your own book, from becoming an author. We do. But I'm just going to ask you, just take the next step. Just move one step forward. Now, how many of you would be willing to take at least the next step in this process? Raise your hands. Okay. Same bunch of you. Good. So let's talk about some things here, okay? I have something that I do want to talk to you about. The financing option. The tuition is $34,999. Today only, $5,000 less, $29,000. The deposit is $8,000, $79,995, and that leaves you a monthly payment of only $659. You're also going to get 200 free books. But I have something that may help you. If I did have something that helped you, you'd like that. Are you sure? Because it's not for everybody. So who's certain? Who actually really is ready to take the next step? Let me see your hands again. Okay, cool. And I might be able to help you out with that. See, because I've got some certificates to save another $5,000 off. So, by the way, I only have a few of them. So if you're serious, we'll talk about that. By the way, would $5,000 help you guys out a little bit? Okay, cool. Good. Let's talk about this for a second. So now, again, that's going to lower your prices. So the tuition for you with that $5,000 off, your tuition is going to drop down to $24,995 overall. Okay, that money's going to come off of your down payment. So your down payment instead of $8,000 will only be, which is under the rates, $29,999. Okay, and that's going to also your monthly payment's going to be low. You're still going to get those books, and if you decide you want to pay in full, there's another $2,000 discount for you to pay in full. And we're also going to give you, back it up, 500 books, not 200. We're going to give you 500 books in addition to that. Pretty cool, yes? Now, it's called the Instant Author Program. Now, there's an enrollment form. Bob, can you hand out the enrollment forms, please? I just want to go over a couple of things. And does that just take one, pass the rest down? Thank you, sir. Does this seem like a pretty cool program to you? Because I'm like, oh my God. I paid more than this, by the way, and I didn't get any of the marketing stuff. I didn't get any of the advertising stuff. Nobody did any of my branding. Nobody designed my logo for me. Nobody built my email banner. Like, I didn't get any of that stuff, and I paid way more than this. So I want to show you the enrollment form. Just take one, pass the rest down. So there's a couple things that I want you to notice on here, because these are questions that we get all the time. So what is joining with us? What is partnering up with us entitle you to? What does it mean? Number one, if you look on page, right here on this page, in the back, on Jerry on there, right up on there, our agreement is for us to produce a book up to 112 pages. Can you produce a book that's more than that? Yes, you can. If the difference in the publishing cost between what we've agreed to and yours, you're just going to pay the difference. We do not add it up. We do not add a tack on extra money. We'll actually show you the invoice from the printer. Anything over what the book of 112 pages would cost, you're going to take care of the balance, okay? Which is fine if you want to do that. On the back, on the terms and condition page, which is on page 3 of 4, we can turn to that for a second. A couple of things that I do want to point out. Number 1 up here, okay? Basically, number 3 on that page under contracts and provisions, all right? What that basically states, just so that you know, is we get, or you're going to pay us, $2 in perpetuity as long as you have the book. So it's a mutually exclusive contract, which means we can only sell our books to you, so we can't sell them to anybody else, but you can only order your books for us. We're protecting our investment in you. But when you order your books, we get $2, okay? The next one down here, on the end, all the way on the bottom, this is the copyright. The copyright is yours. When you work with a major publisher, they own the copyright to your book. They own your book. They own the intellectual property. When you work with us, it is yours, okay? So remember how I also said we're going to create an electronic version of your book? That's yours. We don't get $2 for that. You can distribute that, you can sell that, and we'll help you do that as well. But you keep all the profit from that, okay? And lastly, the one last thing that I want to mention on here is shipping. Because I know for me, when I ordered my book, the shipping costs were almost as much as the actual printing costs. So we've identified a printer right here in town where you'll be able to, when we place the order for your books, they'll do the printing, and then you can actually just drive over and put them in your trunk or go in with your pickup truck or pick them up that way. That way you don't have these exorbitant, expensive shipping costs. And that can be a lot of money, by the way. All right? Now, here's the problem. Here's the problem. I only have a couple of these certificates, okay? So the problem is I have 2 certificates at $5,000, and then I have a couple more at $2,000. Now, how many of you are absolutely serious about taking the next step and about moving forward and partnering with us? Let me see. Okay? So if you're serious and you're ready, who would like a $5,000 certificate? If you would, I have 2 of them. It's first come, first serve. Come and get it. Now, by the way, if you take one of these certificates, you're going to go to the back and you're going to talk to Bob and find out how to make this work. There you go. Who wants the other one? I know you want it. Go to the back and talk to Bob. See if we can work on getting that. Now, I have some 2,000. Anybody want those?